Today we're going to reinstall the fuel tank on this 83 CJ5. There's a list of videos if y'all haven't watched any of them. So, the name of this channel is Jeep Freedom. One of those good freedoms is liquor. There's places in this world that you can't drink. So from now on, every time we start a Jeep video, we're going to do a bourbon review. So today, we're starting out with my favorite, Wild Turkey 101. I am in no way, shape, or form sponsored, but I do like to power myself with it. So, we're going to give it a shot here today before we get started. So, it's a really good, really good nose to it. I really like the rye in Wild Turkey. It's kind of a high rye mash bill. I like the spice that it brings to the table. Good and smooth and caramely. Gobble gobble. Well, let's get started on this fuel tank. Alright, so the first step of reinstalling this fuel tank is going to be pulling this sending unit out. Now I haven't ordered a sending unit because this one here looks fairly new, and we know already that somebody's been here recently. The gas gauge, it never has read correctly, but it's always functioned. It's always went up and down, and I think they have the wrong ohm sweep in the gauge that they put in the Jeep. So we might replace that later on. But to be honest with you, I know that full is full and half is empty. So that's how I've done it for 3 years. So we're going to see if we can get this to loosen up. There's the locking ring. Comes out like so. And then here's the sending unit. Oh yeah, this is brand new. Oh, like brand new. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't order one of these. Look at that thing. Got a plastic float, so it's definitely not original. Now these socks, they tend to plug up, and that sock looks, I mean, it's brand new. So, don't even smell like, ooh, that gas smells, doesn't even smell like gas anymore. It's how bad it smells now. So, alrighty, there's how you remove the sending unit. Okay, so now we're going to reinstall the sending unit in the same fashion that we took it apart essentially in our new tank. So, I'm going to open this up. There's a little rubber seal here. Goes down just like that. Then we're going to take our float, stick it in, and then right here there's two little alignment tabs. Here and here, and they coincide with tabs on the sending unit. So you're going to line those up until they drop in. And that positions your fuel line in the correct direction and your return line in the correct direction. Then we're going to slide our ring over like so. Start it. Proper position. You should be able to start it like that by hand, and then you're going to go over here and grab your hammer. And then a punch or a cheap hard freight screwdriver. You're going to take a tab, you're going to tighten it down. Pack it into position just like that. There it is. Should be leak free, hopefully. And now we're going to clean up the filler neck and get new hose clamps together for it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up the fuel lines and the gauge wires. So the way it's wired up, somebody's put a pigtail on this one. You've got a female spade connector for the ground, and then for the actual resistance wire, you've got a threaded slip-on connector. So all you really got to do is, and whoever did this in the past really gave us some good slack. Just push that one on. And then the spade connector right here. Just put the spade connector on right like that. Right there, and you're done. Now I'm going to get underneath here and we'll hook up those fuel lines right there. First thing we're going to do, really pipe dope works good for this, but out of pipe dope, got some never seeds. Or anti-seize. So I'm going to put some anti-seize right here. Really pipe dope's better. On the outside of this. So that when a man's got to get them hoses off again, he can get them off. Petroleum jelly works real well too with rubber hoses, but I don't have any yet right here. Or at least not the good stuff we use at work. Get under here. And I replaced these hoses under here also. The main line, the actual fuel supply line to your fuel pump and your carburetor is 5/16. And the one for your return is 1/4 inch. There we go. Slide them down on there like that. This one's of course a little shorter. And a good thing about this fuel tank, I think it weighs like 5 pounds. It's super simple here to balance. Slide those down. Slide your hose clamps down. Gotta loosen that one a touch. Now I got them slid on there, should be able to let this rest. loosen that one. Slide, whoop, too far. Slide it down there so it gets proper engagement. Alright, so just double checking. We have our hose clamps on, tight appropriate, new hoses. Both right there and there. We have our fuel gauge wires hooked up and hooked up properly, and all the terminals have been cleaned. Everything's good to where it can slide up in here. We have the hose clamps on the other side of the hoses hooked up, and they are new clamps all around with everything. And the next step is going to be putting on the filler neck hoses over here on this other side, but I've got to get some Permatex anti-seize, move the light here. And can we do those with the camera where it's at? Yeah, I don't see why not. Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and do them right here. So the filler neck and the filler neck vent are right here. So I'm going to coat them up with anti-seize. And this shit, I'm sure if anybody has dug this far into YouTube to find this little tiny pissant channel, knows, they're obviously fairly mechanical, and knows that when you get this shit on your hands, it gets absolutely everywhere. Alright, so we've got that. I've got the new hose clamp slid over the filler neck up here, so I should just be able to hold the fuel tank up. Oh, well, they were slid over. Now they're not anymore. And make sure that you have the bends and all the hoses for this filler neck and its vent lined up close enough, positioned properly so that they will go in the proper hole. Then you've got to go up here and we're going to get a, move the camera, that's what we're going to do. Alright, there we are with the proper amount of bolts in it. Alright, let's put the bolts in the filler neck and we'll call her done. As you can see in there, doing your due diligence and your prep work by making sure everything was close to in position before we slid the tank up in there really helped us out. I'll be able to use my middle finger probably and line it up. So let me grab the bolt. Alright, so you just want to make sure it's pulled up in there real even like, and then feel on the back side of it, make sure all the screws came through. Everything's good and tight, snug, not moving. There it is, our gas tank's installed, so y'all have a good one.